costs nothing to be nice, you know? Costs nothing to be, have a bit of banter. Nice. Nice, nice, nice.
So today we are going to check out some Irish pubs in the very centre of Boston, and we're going to rate them on a very unique type of scale, what I done invented. Who am I? I'm Diane. I'm an Irish girl from Ireland, and I love to travel to the USA and check out your culture and your stuff and things, and also check out your Irish experiences, evidently. But what are your qualifications for rating Irish pubs in America, Diane? Just life, really. Just the subjective opinion of one here person who done been going to pubs their whole darned life. I don't know what that accent was, but anyway. Here's what we are going to be grading things on. We are going to be checking out their Irishness. Actually, their Irishness-ness. That's very distinct from Irishness. Irishness on an American level could be like novel. I want to see how actually Irish it is. Not Irish American, Irish. We're going to check out their Guinness and see if they're pouring it properly and how it does taste. Words are not coming out right today. There is a right way and a wrong way to pour Guinness. You need to tilt it to 45 degrees. Pour initially to the heart line, let it settle for 60 to 90 seconds. Then holding it straight, you top it off, leaving a slight foam head at the top. Some people are very particular about the temperature of the Guinness. For me, I would just say not too hot, not too cold. Kind of chills, like a little icing on the glass, but not like, ooh, it hurts my teeth. And finally, we will be rating on craic. That is that inexplicable, intangible thing that makes a place fun, but in an Irish way. So off we go in pursuit of Irish pubs in central Boston, and there were a lot to choose from.
Obviously, Boston is a city of Irish pubs, and I put out, as I always do, a request for like the best Irish pubs or Irish pubs you wanted me to go and check out. And I didn't get a massive response in the YouTube community section, so I'm going off the little bit that I got there and also just like Google Maps stuff. It's actually been quite hard to pick which Irish pubs in Boston to go to because there are so many. So I've picked one with a funny name that's nearby called Dirty Nellys, and apparently it's quite near this market. So from walking through that market, I've tried to come into Dirty Nellys and they are at capacity right now. It is very crowded in there, but not like impossibly so. So they were like, can you come back in 20 minutes? I don't know, there are just so many Irish pubs here that are not at capacity. And also, I'm the only one that was turned away. 2 men walked in after me and they got served and I didn't. So on to the next. You know, it was too busy for me anyway. I guess because it's right in the middle of Boston and right beside Faneuil Hall and all the markets and all that crack, that might be why it's so busy. But I can only take them as they come. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's what we got.
I can't really rate Dirty Nellys on any of these things because I didn't get to experience it, but just overall that experience gives me a thumbs down, and it might have just been the experience that I had on the day, granted, but I can only go off what I happened to come across, and that's what I did. Maybe it was just banners, but anyway, on to the next pub. And it is a pub that is smack bang in the middle of all the action.
So we are at Devines Irish Pub, which is in Faneuil Hall. It's actually named after a movie character from the film Waking Ned Devine, which is a very funny film. If you just want to watch something silly. I'm curious to see how good the Guinness is going to be here because they have Samuel Adams as the main focus of their beer. The bartenders just stepped away to accept a delivery, so we shall see. So Ned Devine's pub has been here for a decade now. It's very popular among tourists. We got our pint. I think it was only left sitting for about 15 seconds, but it's possibly because I've been waiting while he collected a delivery, so. I've asked a couple of people who worked here a little bit about the history of the place, if they know anything about the owners or the venue itself. And the answer was no. I think it might be an Irish bar in name only. But let's take a little look around.
The decor here was cute but corporate.
I've smiled at a couple of staff members and stuff, but nobody's kind of up for the banter or the chats. It's definitely a nice place to come while you're out having a little shop around the market, just somewhere to have a quick drink. And that's the purpose of it, and that's what it's here for. So it might not be somewhere you're going to come for the evening, but it's nice. Nice.
This wasn't the very first time that I haven't finished a pint in an Irish pub in America, but it was the very first time I really couldn't stand to drink more than a couple of sips. As I said, the barman did rush the pour, probably because I was waiting for about 15 to 20 minutes. But even putting the settling time aside, it just didn't taste good. Maybe it was a bad batch, but that's what I experienced. I'm gonna have to give the Guinness a 4 out of 10. I couldn't find any connection to actual Irish stuff, and maybe there is one, but none of the bartenders or wait staff knew about it. I asked about 3 people who worked there, and none of them could tell me much of anything about an Irish connection. If there is an Irish connection, they should tell their staff about it. I didn't get much Irishness from it, apart from the odd piece of decor. There were families there, so there was something of a cozy vibe, but I just wouldn't call it particularly Irish in any way. And so for that reason, I give the Irishness a 2 out of 10. And there just was no crack, like nobody was coming up to chat, and there was no live music. That's not to say there is never any, so I'm gonna give crack a 2 out of 10. But all that being said, I'm actually not anti this place at all. It was totally inoffensive and nice, just kind of lacking in personality. If there was points for location, it would get a 10 out of 10, but I don't give points for location, so sorry. Definitely could stop there if you're in central Boston and you want to sit down and just have a inoffensive pint. Nice. Actually, don't have a pint, just have like a glass of water or a Coca-Cola or something. Maybe the other beers are better. It is what it is. Pleasant. Next up, we have a major Boston Irish institution, but does your resident Irish girl agree? Let's find out.
We're going to check out a pub called the Roisin Dove. Now, this is one of the most popular Irish pubs in the entirety of Boston. It's been around nearly 50 years. It's owned by a family from Galway who also own, I think it's up to 3 other Irish pubs. This one actually describes itself as a Boston Irish pub specifically. It features live music 7 nights a week. The Black Rose is known as the Fenway Park of Irish pubs, or the Roisin Dove as it is in Irish. It is absolutely jammy, and I guess that is something to do with its location. I had to fight my way up to get a pint of Guinness, so I don't even have a seat, which if I was here with a group of friends would be a good buzz. This is always subjective, and what I'm looking for might not be what you're looking for. Anyway, pour was left the right amount of time, but it wasn't at a diagonal slant. But they are super busy, and he was pouring about 8 pints at a time, so sláinte, let's see how she tastes. Good, it's a good pint. It's a competent pint.
The pint was decent, but I have to say the thing that threw this place over the edge was the atmosphere. Everyone just loves this place.
Well, I had a lovely chat with John, who is the general manager there, and he told me lots more about the history of the pub. So apparently it is the pub where the most Guinness is consumed in the entirety of Massachusetts. He also told me that generations of families bring their kids there for their very first ever pint of Guinness, and it's like a big thing. Also, a lot of kids working on their J1 visas come over for the summer. That's like Irish students. So when they need summer jobs, they go and they work in the Roisin Dove, the Black Rose. Its reputation certainly precedes itself. It wasn't for a quiet pint on your own, for sure. That wouldn't be the way. But it definitely seems like a good place to go on a night out to get the party started. Or in the middle of the day even.
Well, Irishness, 9 out of 10. I cannot fault the Irishness. They were supporting Irish students and they were preserving Irish culture. And I loved the story of the tradition of bringing your kid in there for their first pint of Guinness. Which, speaking of, I'm going to give the Guinness a 7 out of 10. It wasn't the best Guinness I've ever had, but it wasn't bad. The crack was mighty. Definitely easy to pick up a conversation in there. I doubt you'd be left sitting alone for very long, which if you wanted to be left alone. But I like a bit of banter when I go to a pub, so I enjoyed it. It was the middle of my day, so while the vibe was up here for energy, I definitely would go there on a night out with my friends. I reckon it would be a first choice spot for a night out with your mates. And for that reason, I give crack an 8 out of 10. And on to the next.
And finally, we are headed to the Dubliner, which is the new kid on the block, but it's already been voted the most authentic Irish bar in Boston. We'll see. We'll see if it passes the Irishness test. Nice. They're not cockles and mussels. It's just mud. See, now this is more my kind of statue. Good boy. Or girl. This appears to be a replica of the Molly Malone statue that we have in Dublin. If you've heard a thing going around on the internet recently, there is something about how female statues all have their area rubbed off and people have been getting very depressed about it. But actually, if you look at a lot of male statues, they also have their area rubbed off. So equality, you know. Before this venue became the Dubliner, it was called the Kinsale Irish Pub. So the building itself has been here longer than the pub. It's also lauded by locals as a sports bar, and just walking through there, they are playing football, or what you guys in America would call soccer, and the customers here seem to be enjoying it. But how does the pint taste? Oh, that's very good. I just saw my own face and it looked like it wasn't good. But it is, it's very good. And I would have to say, I walked past 3 different people who work here with Irish accents. Let's find out a little bit more about the pub itself. There are 2 sections to this pub, and the first area was very, very busy and more of the pub bar vibe. In here, where I'm sitting at the moment, it's a lot more restaurant-y, although you can eat food on the other side too. The pub boasts a largely Irish menu and has been lauded online for its food. Live music is played here Wednesday to Saturday night. The decor feels very authentically Irish, I will say. And I really like the fact that there are 2 areas. So if you're like me and you kind of prefer a more quiet space, you could set up camp here while your louder, kind of more party friends go into the other part. The decor is very cool. Everywhere you look, there's something different, even on the roof and up high. So I really like the Dubliner. It was very cozy and yet partyish if you wanted it. The only thing is, I tried to get a little crack and chat going with the manager and he was just not having it. He was like cold. And I do find that just people being nice makes a big difference. Nice. So I had just asked the manager if he was the owner and he was like, no. I was like, oh, okay, is the owner around? No. All right, cool. It costs nothing to be nice, you know? It costs nothing to have a bit of banter, but there was none to be had. And you know, it was kind of strange because I saw him walking around and he was doing a good job and I tried to give him a little smile and he gave me nothing. I can already hear you in comments now saying that if you want a real Irish pub experience in Massachusetts, you need to get out of Boston. I will get out of Boston, but you gotta watch the videos.
I have such mixed feelings about the Dubliner. It was so promising. It is a new pub. There's room for improvement. The Guinness was fab. The Guinness was great. The Guinness was 9 out of 10. Really, really good Guinness. Irishness, the vibe, the decor was really great. But there was just that little something missing. And I give it an 8 out of 10. And the craic, this is where this place really falls down for me and was disappointing. Again, just my experience on the day. I found the staff all pretty cold and that manager was outright hostile to me. Now, we all have bad days, you know? I can be a right witch sometimes.
No way, we are all super surprised and shocked at that information.
But Irish people have been voted the friendliest people in the world, and that's what we're all about. We pride ourselves on our ability to have craic no matter what the situation. Even funerals can be great craic. And the thing about it is, when they had such great decor and a great pint and everything, they fell down on something that costs absolutely nothing, and that's just being friendly. I'm sad to mark them so low on that. Hopefully it was just an off day or something that they can improve upon. So craic, 6 out of 10, maybe 5. Which makes my winner for Boston Central, the Black Rose Pub. If I didn't cover your favourite Boston Central pub, that's your fault. You need to comment more. Engage in the community, it's a really fun group of people. I'm always available the first hour after upload, so turn on your notifications. Get plugged in. Speaking of, here's a couple of names I want to share with you today. These are the executive producers of the channel, the Karmic Goals crew from Patreon.
Thank you so much to Justin Rutledge, Russell Reyes, Christopher Shelton, Flores487H, Daniel Sith, Bill Ebby, Henry Chin, John Riley, Anthony Rogers, Mike H, Lord Kerry, Marty Hopkins, John F. Pfeiffer, Ben Rast, Thomas Olson, Bill W., Carl Johnson, Brian Orstal, Mark Green, Roger Sasaki, Joseph Coate, Michael Mahan again, Dan Contini, Don Proctor, Ben Foster, Paul Denzeo, Heather Gill, John Peterson, Tony S., Kathleen Harrington, Lawrence Davis, Kurt Johnson, Schaefer Clickman, Glenn A. Lewis, Sarah Koval, Lauren Thomas, Brian Ware, and Elaine Williams. Thanks for the pints, lads.
Thank you so much, guys. That's it for today. See you on the other side. Bye.